When Alan Dietz jumps on, we'll talk about the Oxford 250 as they got that race in. We will touch on a little bit the NASCAR schedules have come out and some changes there when it comes to playoffs and all kinds of different stuff. We'll talk about that. The Cars Tour, I think, is something that we need to talk about as the tire situation right there has kind of come to a head, and they, along with Hoosier, kind of making some differences right there. But one thing that I do want to dive into with you, Bobby, before we get Greg on here, Carlucci, is we saw this past weekend there at CBS. I know that we have talked a lot of times, and again, the show tonight presented by On Demand Shirts, audio-visual consultations, all of our great friends that make this show possible. I think we saw another situation to where with the STIMS series, to where the infancy and with the excitement and everybody that's wanting to be a part of that, we saw them again having to make really, really hard decisions with some stuff that happened this past weekend. And I hate to talk about this because, and that's a bad part about doing this show, because when we have to dig into this kind of stuff, these are usually our friends that we're talking about. But what went on there with the STIMS race, I like what they did. I mean, sometimes you have to make some really, really hard decisions when you come to be a race series or a director or whatever. And they're walking the line right there. They're doing what they have to do.
Well, I think that what the main thing is it's called growing pains, right? Yep. When you have a new series, you're going to have growing pains. You're going to have to set precedents that nobody's set before in terms of a series, right? When it's a brand new series. So you have to draw the line in the sand. To use that line from William Barrett Travis there at the Alamo, draw the line in the sand and say, this is the line, don't cross it. And so there is there's a fine line between rough racing, and I get that when you have racers that run a series, they understand the mental capacity of a race car driver, which is not very much when it comes to something other than driving and winning. And so I think they took some of that into consideration. But I think, for it to reach the level that it did, I think they definitely had to make a call. Some people agree with it. Some people don't, just like every call in every racing situation. But, I mean, I just think that it's an unfortunate speed bump that the series had to go through to try to alleviate, that kind of actions in the future. They don't want to have a Bowman Gray type moment every single race. So I don't think anybody wants to have a Bowman Gray moment except for Bowman Gray every single week.
Yeah. And the whole thing with that is it really comes down to with them. I mean, they do have to draw that line in the sand, because it's one thing that, when you get out there and you're going to race that way, things are going to happen on the racetrack. And some guys and ladies race with emotion, and they race with everything that they have to bring to the table. And it's really hard to dial it back. I mean, I've been in that spot to where, you want to do what you want to do, but I mean, you can't. And I do think that one of the things that I was so impressed with this past weekend, on the NASCAR side, was for all the people that dislike Kyle Busch, the fact that, I was waiting. I'm like, okay, Kyle, here's, notch that 20th straight win, get yourself into the playoffs. He didn't do it. He did the right thing. And I think that a lot of times it's really hard to bring yourself back to that.
Well, I think Busch is more concerned with getting the 20-year streak than he is about making the playoffs because he's so far behind.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother issue that fired up all week. Harrison Burton, the lowest full-time driver in the points, wins the race at Daytona, qualifies for the playoffs because they don't have the top 30 rule anymore. But we'll get into that a little bit later. But I think that I think that the industry as a whole learned a lot from the Austin Dillon incident.
Yep.
I think they learned that there's a line that you don't cross, and I think that they're as long as the cup drivers, which are the superstars of the sport, and they're the ones that have their eyes on, despite these short trackers that say they don't race, they don't watch, and all that good shit. They watch because everybody's got a damn opinion on it. The ones that say they never watch every week got some kind of bitch and moan about it.
Yep.
But it's like, they're setting the precedent up that high level that stuff's not appropriate anywhere outside of Bowman Gray. I mentioned that again because I had a couple of people show me some videos from Bowman Gray. Those people love it. That's a unique market. When I come to a racetrack, I don't come to watch a circus. I come to watch a race. Now, granted, sometimes when those antics happen, it makes our job as announcers a little bit easier. But, you know, from a race fan perspective, I'm not sure I really enjoy those guys chasing each other around inside the pits and all that stuff with them race cars.
Yeah, that's stupid. So the words from Kyle Busch after Daytona, here's what he had to say.
Second, you know, it's all good. We're really lucky to miss a few of them. So all good. Just real proud of everybody, Randall, all the guys, everybody at RCR, ECR. They did a great job and brought a fast car. And you know, was hoping that we could get those free number 8 specials on Monday for everybody. Get some chicken tenders rolling, but wasn't meant to be. So we'll take this. Got a good little stretch here going with these last 3 weeks, and hope that we can do what we need to do next week.
Now, quick take on the final lap. What could you have done different now that you've seen it? You haven't seen a lot of it, but what do you think?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any of it, but just from what I recall, we got off at 2, and somehow the bottom lane got misconjobulated and broke all of our momentum, and the top lane just rolled. And so once they got in front, with as little as energy as there was, with the lack of cars that there were, it was hard to make anything happen from turn 4 to start finish. So besides just flat out wrecking them, you know, there was nothing else I could do.
You know,